having an authority over your life is very important. Right? So I've grown and experienced to understand like a spiritual foundation and something above you, right? Because I feel when we're on a path to higher consciousness, when we awaken, when we learn new information, we'll resonate with knowing ourselves as a god or a goddess, and self-deification, and learning how to control uh, your mind, and knowing how to transmute energy, and all of these things that give you this um, way to manipulate your reality and create your reality so that you are living your best life, right? So we find all these ways that where we can do that ourselves, right? We learn that inner power, that self-empowerment, right? That self-mastery. And so we look at ourselves as the one who controls our lives. But spiritually speaking, we are still at the mercy, right? We're at the mercy of the unknown, of the unpredictable. And so our foundation is a reverence for a higher power. Call it the Most High God, or Source, or the universe, or whatever you may call it. There is something above, beyond, and that transcends what we can even perceive, right? So we're at the mercy of a higher power, higher forces, spiritual forces. And that sense of authority is something that we respect and we revere. Now, people understand it as fear, like people say fear God, and people have their interpretations of that and how that works for them in their daily spiritual life. Some people may not resonate with that, but still there is that reverence and honor and respect, and knowing that there is a higher authority above any kind of personal power that we have, right? My personal belief is that our greatest power is that of our perception and our ability to look at reality at different perspectives, based on unfavorable, unpleasant, unpredictable circumstances. That sharpness, or that skill that we have to view things from different perspectives is, important. But still, again, we're at the mercy of those unpredictable, uncertain, unfavorable kind of uh, realities and experiences in life. And so we have to give reverence to an authority above ourselves. So, saying all that to say, because I don't want to make this too long, the difficulty that comes with revering a higher power, or honoring a higher power, and trusting a higher power, partially it's because of ego and certain people having attachments to the idea that they are God and that they can control their reality, like no matter what, you know what I mean? Even beyond like perception, like trying to control experiences, trying to control people. And then you find out the hard way that it doesn't work like that. You have to surrender to something beyond you. And another issue with that, aside from the ego, is if a person doesn't have a strong foundation of authority, even in their human life, right? How you respected your parents, how you honored your parents or your early caregivers and guardians and stuff like that, or even teachers or police officers, doctors, whatever kind of person or people's had a title or a sense of authority in our lives. That is telling to how we develop a sense of or a connection to the authority beyond the physical. So, for instance, if you didn't have a great relationship with your parents or with caregivers or senses of authority, it may be even more difficult for you to have a reverence or honor for a higher power beyond the physical. You see what I'm saying? Because that authority, that's Capricorn energy. I'm thinking about tarot, and that's the devil card. But Capricorn energy is about authority. It's about control. It's about usefulness, right? In a detriment, you get abuse, and you get manipulation, deception, controlling, and all of that stuff, and feeling stuck and trapped, right? In a detriment. But in a positive light, you get that Capricorn energy, or that sense of authority energy is protective, right? It's where you get boundaries. It's where you get your standards. It's where you start learning your values and what means the most to you. It's where you stand on certain beliefs because they're foundational, right? It's a sense of security, right? That earth sign energy, a sense of security and stability, discipline. You see what I'm saying? So your sense of authority based on your earthly experiences can correlate to your sense of authority beyond earthly experiences. So if you're having maybe a difficult time surrendering to a spiritual authority, right? A higher power. Look into where you have issues with authority on earth and in relationships with older people, right? Parents, caregivers, or even just people that are older than you. How do you respect that? How have you respected that? How has that been a challenge for you in your life? Because that may point to some areas to look in as to why a spiritual authority may be difficult for one to connect to. A point of reference for this is within the chakras is the solar plexus, because the solar plexus deals with your autonomy, right? Your sense of identity. It deals with the soul. It deals with the relationship with mother and father and how you've built up an identity for yourself, or vice versa, how an identity may have been pushed on you. And so in our awakening and in our healing, we go through this process where we filter and we have to undo certain ideals that were put on us about who we are, right? That's solar plexus work. So look into where you may be having issues within that area of your energy in correlation to your spiritual life and your spiritual order, and where you find foundation and where you respect authorities.